So right now a lot of our current work is just ensuring that we're set up for Blender 3.0 and 3.1 whenever they're official, but one of the things that was first pointed out with the last release was an issue with blank material and Carpaint. So if we press Alt M and we use blank material and we use the F9 to jump over to Carpaint, we see that Carpaint's no longer throwing an error inside of Blender 3.0 or Blender 3.1, so just glad that that's been resolved. However, having it replace all of the material index is something that we may want to check into in the future. Let's just press Ctrl Z to go back to our original, just to let users know, in the event that you wanted to just replace specifically a particular material index, that's where you would want to go into Material Scroll, where you could then press T in order to change your type to be Carpaint, and then when you roll the wheel, you're actually replacing a specific material with a blank material that you're just scrolling through instead of replacing the entire material and everything. In fact, we could press 1, 2, 3 in order to activate different material indexes to change them. I'm just pressing 1, 2, and 3 in order to activate all the different ones. And now we're able to just scroll through different types of materials just on the fly using Material Scroll. But just letting users know that Carpaint has now been fixed for 3.0 and higher builds. So here I am in Blender 2.83.18 using an older version of HardOps 9.87.16, which we're on 26 now, and I'm just going to draw a couple of box cuts just to set up some booleans and get the collection party started. And we see that we have our collection named cutters. Let's just double click this and call this, something else. It's kind of a lot of characters, but if we press Alt W, we switch over to Hopstool, right? And if we hold Control, we can use dots in order to highlight our shape. But if we select our shape, because our cutter collection is no longer named cutters, we see that that throws an error. So this is just kind of a long time error that's just been sitting there, and someone pointed out to us recently, and it's like, let's get that taken care of. So we bring up the current version of Blender, where we're on version 987_26, and we do a couple of cuts same way as before. Boxcutter looking better than ever, and we're just going to call this something else. Old habits never change. And we press Alt W to switch over to Hopstool, and if we hold Control, we can bring up our hops dots for our cutters. If we just click, we see that we're now able to bring back the particular cutters that are desired without having issues with that particular error. So kind of a long time error, just glad to see that it's finally out of here. So I have my 3D cursor placed here. If we press Alt X and we bring up our mirror tool, we can press D and change our pivot point over to cursor, where we see that in the help it says that an empty will be created. However, if we press D and we jump over to flip as our mode, it will now say that no empty will be created, which is accurate because whenever you use flip, no empty will be created using that mode. However, when using a mirror modifier, an empty will be created if using a mode that's using a different type of pivot point that isn't the object's origin. Just making that clear. So let's just press D, jump over to flip, press X, jump over to flip again, flip this over, and just like that, we're able to use flip.